Guten Abend. First of all, if you're new to this channel, I invite you to follow and subscribe to my channel if you like to see more of my content. And if you like my content, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe. And leave your thoughts and feelings in the comment section below. So when I wrote the article back in 2016 where I talked about being the only writer in the family, and I thought at that time have already overcome the hardest part of my life's journey, which is defying tradition, choosing the road less traveled, and proving to everyone, myself included, that writing life is not only possible but powerful. Powerful enough to transform and destroy someone's life. But life has a funny way of throwing curveballs even after you thought you've made it. You think you know yourself a lot, or you think you know everything about yourself, and you think you're strong enough to handle things on your own. Wait until the challenges come to test you and your faith. Wait until your life falls apart. Wait until you lose control on everything over your job, your clients, your house, your family, your friends, your language, your culture, your old life, everything. And wait until you lose everything, and then you will know that you have nothing until you just have your eye that you never loved. Now I'm still in the middle of healing that part of me, trying to find reasons to smile each day, to keep myself alive, to keep fighting against myself and this melancholic skin that I wear every single day. And despite the odds, challenges, and obstacles coming my way, I know I can overcome them without losing my ground, my center, and myself, without pulling myself to square one and throwing years of shadow work because I feel bad and aggravated. Perhaps you're in an environment where you feel like you're not growing, or you feel like you're stuck. If you feel like you're in such an environment where you don't have space to grow and figure out who you truly are. And I truly understand that feeling because I also grew up in an environment where it's the dynamic itself is making every child voiceless. And because of this child growing voiceless, she got used to being voiceless and not really being heard or listened to. And I truly understand how you went through, or how it is for you if you grew up in an environment where you can't have an opinion because having an opinion or having a strong opinion is bad or being punished. And because you, as a child, you didn't have any chance to speak your mind and heart and soul, you grow up as an adult wherein you never have the chance to know what you want, because first and the last thing that comes out of your mind every single day, from the moment you first wake up in the morning and the last moment before you fall asleep, all you think of is your safety, your emotional stability, your mental capacity, whether you can get up tomorrow or the next day without feeling bad, or whether you're asking yourself whether like you're waking up the next morning with a smile, or you welcome the next morning with a frown. You'll never know, because everything depends on the mood of the adults around you. You don't have a stable environment, and because you grew up in such an unstable environment, you didn't have like that psychological safety that is comfortable enough for any child, for anyone to feel okay and safe to express and know who she is. And during the formative years, let's say 0 to 6 years old, and even to 12 years old, in this age group, most children are still in the they're in the formative years. They're still forming their beliefs, they're still forming their lessons, their truths, or whatever, they're learning something, they're learning. So whatever they learn during that time will become part of their adulthood. And it will be really hard to detect if this is programming or not during the adulthood because of the hectic rush of life. We don't have time to really sit down and think about what happened to us, or we don't even like to talk about those topics because it's really just so painful. So as an adult, you're always under constant pressure. So you really don't have the mental space and time and like the space to think what you like, need, and want. So then as adults, we're here stuck in the middle of stressful mundane, feeling like our jobs and material wealth are the only keys to happiness, and having bigger houses and cars are means of security, while regretting the long gone years we took for granted. So all those times when we're free to dream like children and imagine our future like they would. Those old times when we're free to run to the beach and watch the stars at night, wishing our wildest, brightest dreams to the dark skies. In my journal entry, undated in the year of 2021, I wrote, "Maybe I'm just tired. I have told myself this countless times in my life. Maybe I simply didn't have enough time to give myself a break. Yet, as soon as I do, anxiety fills me. If uncontrolled, it becomes another panic attack. Sudden, frantic out of nowhere, persistent gloomy vibe, fond of gloomy cold, dark, or gray skies during winter months. As much as I could put up a cheerful facade of a cheerful person, I will never forget what my mother told me as she described how I was and how she knew me as her daughter. Loner. And the question is, am I really a loner? Or was it a coping mechanism to, like, it's a coping mechanism to survive? Or was it like a survival tool learned to free myself from the praise predators? So was it a coping mechanism as a child that I learned from all the experiences and the punishments and all that? And I don't know, that's something that I have to ponder as an adult. And right now I'm still in the middle of it, and I'm still in the middle of evaluating each memory that I have, and then the feelings that arises whenever situations comes. So like for example, my husband would do something, and then he does something that provokes a childhood programming. First, it will feel like friction, like you're against it. You don't like it. You don't like what he's doing. I don't like what he's doing. I kind of have that uncomfortable feeling. So when that comes, before I attack him and whatever, which I don't want, the first thing I would do is sit down with it and really study why I'm feeling this way. Is it because he violated something? Did he actually do something with ill intent towards me? And if it's something that I have to be so concerned about, or is this me overreacting, or is this me not being able to reconcile the fact that what he's doing is mirroring me, or what he's doing is actually the same thing that I do? Let's say a self-sabotage. Is this something that I'm against really, but my soul says so, but then my mind says it's okay? I don't know. So things like this come. But back then it wasn't possible. As soon as my husband would do something that I feel like it's against or violating any uncomfortable feeling, then I would immediately have something to say or speak my mind or whatever. But right now, after like trying to really become better, I don't really usually react to things unless like I'm still working on it. And although it's my goal is like, even at the most stressful times, I will still keep my ground. I will still keep my self, my away from others, even at the most stressful times. And it was tested in the previous episodes you've watched. You've seen how it was. Like the exhaustion. The exhaustion itself could have been something that I would lash out, or could have been an excuse to lash out, could have been an excuse to do something, to say something bad. But no, I didn't. I still kept my ground. And that was like an experience that I can say that I like to keep. Like, I can actually do that. Like, even at the most stressful times when I feel like the hopeless, the powerless, it humbles me. Because back then, it wasn't easy, because I always have to feel like I have to be the superior because I have to survive. And as a child, I have to be one step ahead. I should know how the adults are feeling, or I have to be hyper vigilant. I have to be aware, hyper aware of my surroundings, to the point like I really don't have space to think of what should I want, how do I react. It's always like scripted. Like, okay, if they react like this, I will do this. If they say something like this, I do this. There's really no, if they do this, this is how I feel. And this is what I wanted to say. And there was no like like consideration, or try to like the effort of trying to understand the point of the kid. There wasn't a feeling. So like, because of that, I grew, because of growing up and learning the programming is with me, and it creates the ripple effect. And now it's now towards my marriage, for example, the programming that I learned is now like, okay, influencing my marriage. And I don't want that. I mean, not all of it, all of my past is bad. There's some things that I like to keep and cherish for the rest of my life as part of my truths, but not everything. I don't want to pass on the same pain that I have. I don't want to pass on that exhaustion, that tiredness, and lack of colors towards life, and the lack of perspective, the lack of understanding, the lack of, as much as possible, as an adult, I don't want to carry all those trauma, all those coping mechanisms that I have built, that I have fortified within me, simply because I was in pain or I was wounded. I don't want to be the kind of person who will inflict the same pain that I received from the adults. And let's say the kid would have something to say towards me, and am I right to tell a kid, oh, you're wrong? And because like we grew up thinking the adults know more, but the children don't lie. So whatever they see is truth. They don't have the concept of lie, fear. These are learned things. We fear. Children don't have fear. They jump, and then they kind of, we call it tagam. So they kind of have that experience. I will not do it again. But let them. But most of us don't have that experience to the full extent. We're usually controlled. We can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do this. Whatever. And now you're in the adulthood, just as I am. And now you find yourself in situations where you feel like God hates you. Or you feel like you're losing everything. You're losing your home, you're losing your wife, you're losing your husband, you're losing your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or you're losing your job, your career, everything you've built is now in ruins and now it's falling apart and you don't know what you should do and you don't have anything or anywhere to ask for help and you're really stuck in a situation where you don't really just know what to do. And in such situations, the tendency is we berate ourselves, we blame ourselves for everything, or we try to blame it on others because it's easier to point others when it's also like it's balance. Others and self are playing together in an event. Yourself enabling it and others reacting or provoking it, or the other way around. So I don't know if that makes sense to you. Like, let's say this is self and this is others. So this is your space, the self, and this is the space of others. So that includes your sister, your husband, anyone. So, so it's still up to you, the self, to control the, how should I say, your responsibility is the self, not the others. So but what happens is we whenever there's an event or bad event or whatever, something triggered you or whatever, we blame others first without even trying to see your garden first. If there's some withered leaf, you blame your neighboring gardener for destroying your garden without even checking your soil if there's enough fertilizer. You didn't even check the tree if it was full of this fungi or it's already dead. You didn't even check the pumps of the irrigation or the irrigation or whatever you need in the garden is functioning. You just blame, blame, blame. And if you're someone who's listening to this episode, if you're listening to this episode and you find yourself asking, am I doing that? Maybe you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't ask yourself that question. You wouldn't be asking questions if you didn't actually intend to ask yourself those questions yourself. But it's up to you to listen to them. And when you gain knowledge in any form, because this is also part of knowledge, this is also part of you developing your truth, because it's not too late. If I did it, if I was able to be smiling and hopeful despite everything, I was able to find my ground despite everything that happened to me, and I'm still able to find reasons to smile each day despite everything that happened to us. And we still laugh together, we still do things that we need to do each day without really harming each other by words or actions and whatever. The reason is this: like, I'm not skipping the uncomfortable and the unwanted part of me. I know sometimes it will play out in my consciousness. The unconscious will always play out in your consciousness. In what way? What people see about you. What people see directly at this moment. What people see is your unconscious. So, and then what you know about yourself is your consciousness. So if people say, you look sad today, and then you can, really? I'm not sad. So you see how that plays out. Or let's say, if someone tells you, I don't like what you did, this and that, this and that, blah, blah, I don't like what you said, and he's just being frank. He's just being truthful to you. And then your conscious brain is saying, instead of accepting it like, oh, this is unconscious, they're watching my unconscious playing out. And instead of accepting it, you said, no, how do you dare? Blah, 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 blah. You see, and every time you have that, you gain knowledge. Unless, unless you try to avoid it and avoid discussions and telling the person you're wrong, shutting the person immediately, then you'll continue living that way. You'll continue living in ruins, ruining yourself by not trying to gain freedom, not trying to gain the knowledge, and not trying to understand what these people are saying. Although not everything, it's still under your control, the self, right? Your only control zone is yourself, not the others. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but this is what I have thought about today. Like the real cost of choosing yourself. After the last episode, it was like staying true to yourself means war. And now I'm talking about like the aftermath of everything. And honestly, I'm still thinking of what just happened to us. And now I'm talking with you, sharing with you now, days, weeks after it happened, how it is for me, how it is for us both. And I should say that shadow work has been really helpful for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to sit with you and talk to you and share with you all of this. Like it's like a realization that even when even when you think you're losing everything, you're actually not losing everything. You're not losing the I. What you actually lost is the chance to avoid the I that you never loved. So just like me, who came face to face with the reality of unexpected complications like the strained dynamics with the landlord and unsettling interactions with the housefrau and the looming weight of needing to move out without certainty for support. Everything, all of those, all the bullying that we've experienced, all the looming weight of needing to figure out how to get out of it. And like these situations remind me of how easy it is to be lonely, how easy it is to be sad and be isolated, and the feeling of no one understands you, the feeling of you don't know how to navigate your life because you think you don't know yourself and you don't know where you're going. And it's exhausting. I understand that it's exhausting to keep explaining. It's exhausting to keep trying to live a life that doesn't really represent you, and trying to justify why you decide this way, why you did this in that way, not this way. All I can say is pause, just like I always say. Pause, take a break, even for just 15 minutes, and let yourself be in that moment with the I that you ignored, I that you never allowed to feel, the I that you never allowed to manifest itself, the I that you never really understood, the I that you never really heard, the I that you never really studied. Because all we think about is others, what others think of me, how can I help others, how can I serve others, how can I be useful for others. How about yourself, the I? Have you ever truly listened to yourself